Well, hello there everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing, well, I was going to do 2 episodes, but it's come to one, mainly because I was treated, if you follow me on social media, then you may or may not know that I got treated to the Southampton against Crystal Palace game on Saturday. So I was going to get this one and the next one recorded and then have to sort of schedule the upload to have a nice sort of recording session, but commentating session, and get everything done before the new year. But it doesn't matter. Yesterday I was also busy as well. Today I've been pretty much busy, but I've got a little bit of time for this, and it's going to basically sort of cap off everything. So it's going to be a roundup of everything. So if you've missed any of the game ideas videos that I've already put on the channel, then I recommend you go and check them out. There is a link to the description in the playlist in the description below. I think if you're on mobile you have to expand the description now, which I find quite annoying. I know it doesn't even show like a little bit the description like it does on YouTube, on PC if you're online, but on mobile it just hides the description. It's just very weird. Then YouTube is weird. So yes, sort of going through, this was basically I was gonna do 2 videos where I was gonna look at the other stuff in career mode and then just look at other stuff generally. But I've decided that I haven't got time. I could do it separately, but I've decided to do it together since the fact I wanted to get this done before New Year's. Tomorrow is my rewind video, which will be looking back at the episode. Again, I haven't finished. I've got a little bit still to record to that, which is basically the New Year's message. So if you've got anything that you think of your favourite moments from my channel from this past year, then let me know in the comments below this evening, and I'll make sure it gets added to that. So let's start with stuff that needs to be added to career mode. Well, we've sort of rounded up on career mode with R&D, the paddock, and sort of, if they get, yes, I know I was saying that R&D is pretty much there. It's just the fact how they implement the interface of R&D. We've seen the paddock, the fact that, I mean, the hospitality suite is a lot, well, on F1 2017 is 10 million times better than the little hovel that we're in now. So yes, but I thought one of the things that could become, that is sort of R&D related, and this is my first thing, was F1 teams changing their engine suppliers. I know there's licensing issues, but they've allowed us driver transfers. We've been going on about driver transfers for about 2 million years now. Customer teams. Now this would have to be linked to customer teams. Like McLaren, for example. Let's use McLaren because they're the ones that they are changing. Let's say they decide they change their engine supply for Renault to Honda. It's not going to be hard to change, or Renault to Mercedes, for example, because that's what they're doing in real life, not to Honda. It wouldn't be hard to implement the engine change. They would need they would only need to change one line of one. I know this because I've done this myself. I could mod this in. Okay, it's that easy. Okay, it's not something that you need to spend hours and hours of programming. It's an easy fix. Okay. I would also like, if on a side note, one thing I can't remember if I mentioned this in the R&D video or not, but if you're a customer team, there shouldn't be any R&D related to anything to do that improves the performance of the engine, because you are a customer, which means it is up to the factory team what they spend their R&D points on. And if you're in a factory team, then you should be aware that you might be given if your rival's got the same engine supplier, then you could be giving them a boost as well. So that's something to think about. Obviously Honda would be Red Bull as their main supplier, and then obviously, and then the other three are from Mercedes, Ferrari, and Renault. Pretty simple explained. So, but yes, that'd be quite nice to see. It, that will make it a little bit more realistic, as opposed to having, like, if you've been watching Ara's Road to Glory series, then you'll know that he has basically gone and upgraded the engine, even though the engine is provided by Mercedes. So that all things should be locked off, and he should be focusing instead on improving the chassis and the aero of that stupid, horrible car. But yes, I'd definitely like to see customer teams like McLaren change their engine suppliers. It would definitely also to change the stuff it would change the layout of the R&D anyway. If they don't implement the stuff where the R&D is locked, then at least, very least, adds a bit of change to the R&D. You're not staring at the same skeleton, because as soon as you get to max it out, then pretty much you get to see the same skeleton of R&D at that point. So yes. Now, number 2 is a popular one. Is custom podium celebrations. The podium is sort of being the same now. It's got the same animation now, so it's pretty much like 2015. They go out on the podium. You can see Christian, if it's a Red Bull, for example, you see Christian Horner shaking hands with Adrian Newey, and then you cut to a thing where Max Verstappen has won the Grand Prix, and he's shaking a bit of champagne and lifting his trophy up. Yes, there's a couple of stuff that can be done here. Obviously, a custom podium celebration. I know some people are fed up with it from Fortnite, but at the very least to have a custom podium celebration. Maybe like Sebastian Vettel's one finger, Rubens Barrichello's arm in the air, stuff like that would be actually quite cool to see. Obviously, you'd have all the dubstep stuff, whatever. I'm not into that stuff. I'm not a Fortnite player. Okay, I did try it once, but I was terrible, so I didn't play it anymore. But yes, custom podium celebrations, because I'll just skip through it. Who wants to see the same podium celebration 210 or be 220 times in career mode? No, definitely not. Number 3, something that got removed from the old Codemasters game, is the young driver test, and I think it should be in career mode. I think I mentioned this already about having a pre-season stuff type thing, and the young driver test would definitely be there. It would also help the newer players. I don't want it to be like the old F1 games, however, because there are the experienced players like that know their way around, but it should at least be in the game. And yes, the final one I was going to mention about career mode is about having those little F1 events. I think I mentioned this in last year's, but it'd be quite cool if you can get that Benjamin bloke. You saw a photo of him the other day, because I used him to pretend in the choose your own agent video. I can't remember which video that is now, but he's in one of the videos anyway. Basically, it'd be cool if he could come and he could be he could be the manager of the events, for example. And then you can have a little relation of him talking to your teammate as well at the same time. Stuff like that. But yeah, it'd be quite cool if you could just to go out and do a bit of donuts or something else, something fun. Yes, you'd have the option to skip it, so you didn't have to do it, because I know there'll be some people just there to race in the career mode, but to take a little break from career mode and to round off the episode, for me as a YouTuber, I'll see that as quite cool. And that was pretty much it from career mode. There was only 4 things there. I couldn't think of anything else. I think we covered pretty much everything that I know that Codemasters that we think they can get done. Obviously, I think they probably passed the 2020 game. Before I move on and talk about the other stuff, I would like to say there is a tweet on my page about all the stuff that's wrong with F1 2019. I'm not going to go into too much about that because that's for that tweet. It pretty much explains 14 demands of stuff that needs to be improved in 2019 and not in 2020, which seems to get a bit of support from Tom97 Arab. So a huge thank you if you've gone and liked that tweet. If you haven't seen those list of 14 stuff, then my link to my Twitter profile is in the description. It's the pinned tweet on my page. Okay, so go and check that out should you wish to. But yes, moving on now to there's 6 things here I've listed. And number 1 is something else that got removed from my Codemasters game, red flags. Now, if you're the git that is Lee Mather, who counts his money and doesn't care about the community, then you will know that he did actually mention once that he was considering re-adding red flags. And of course, we've seen this year that Tim Marlock, who of course is in bed with Codemasters, has got 2 videos out on his channel about red flags this year. So there's a good chance that red flags might be in the game for 2020, we hope. But to be honest, if they're not, they need to be in the game because it's a fundamental part of the system. Yes, I'd like to see a replay of what happened and why it was the red flag may be given. Maybe also, if somebody, I'd also like to see if somebody gets a penalty, like a 5-second penalty, then I'd like to be able to have a little replay of why they were given the penalty, like they show you on the screen. Just something like that to show you, maybe show the player what they've done wrong should they be getting the penalty. Because sometimes it's not clear what they think you've done. What the penalty? Some of the penalties are anyway ridiculous being given out, but I'd like to see a little, especially for like other drivers as well. Then get the little race control official dialogues in, because that's the other thing, is to get the official graphics in the game, because they're not official graphics, no way. To have that in the replay system would be quite cool. Number 2 is sort of an online thing, is Formula 2 leagues. They've introduced leagues. There's a whole new league system on F1 2019, which I think is probably was overdue, to be honest, considering the fact the AOR had a full-blown management system, and now they could do that through the game, and had penalties and whatnot, as opposed to and just do it for a spreadsheet and whatnot. So there was the advantage, but I think they can build with that. I think it would be quite cool to see Formula 2 leagues, classic car leagues as well. Just be able to allow people to choose what they want, and especially also in ranked gameplay as well, because ranked gameplay is all the multiplayer car. I want to be able to drive an F1 car ranked. I want to be able to drive an F2 car ranked, as well as the classic cars, and of course that multiplayer car. I want to have. There needs to be more choice when it comes to multiplayer, but I haven't got any. That's literally the only complaint I've got about multiplayer, because they've done quite a lot about multiplayer: custom helmets, custom liveries, custom livery multiplayer car. I would like to be able to have more like a sponsorship role, like they do in Motorsport Manager. But on a whole, multiplayer is getting there, and at least it wasn't as broken as F1 2018. Number 3, Formula 3. I mean, I know people have been saying, okay, we've got Formula 2 now, why do we need Formula 3? But Formula 3 has 30 cars, and to be honest, I would hope they would be able to expand the storyline. And Formula 3 is pretty much the bottom end of the sort of worldwide tier system. It is the lowest supporting category of F1, and there's more cars. I mean, So if you get a rivalry, I mean, James Hunt and Niki Lauda, their rivalry started off in Formula 3. And then there wasn't really Formula 2 back then. It was Formula 3000, I think it was. I can't remember. But yeah, it'd be quite cool to have Formula 3. I know that would probably add a little bit more because there's 30 cars. So it's 30 more drivers that need a head scan. But nevertheless, it would open the earlier part of career mode up and allow you to maybe like have 3 scenarios from Formula 3, like 5 in Formula 2 to complete. That would be quite cool. And then you can see that progression: Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1. Or if you do very well in Formula 3, there could be a few people saying, well, we've seen enough. We think you're ready for Formula 1. Stuff like that. Number 4 is another one that got removed, and I banged on this about 100 million times. Split screen. Don't know why they removed it. It needs to be added back. Really, why did they remove it? I don't know. I think it got removed in a lot of stuff got removed in 2015, to be honest. And since then, there's not been a lot of stuff being added back into the game that was removed from 2015. Removed for when 2015 came out. I mean, we're still now on the levels of safety car is at the level of 2015. It's that bad. Okay, 2 more, because I know I've gone on a little bit too long. So apologies, but I thought to mash it into one video rather than making 2. Scenario modes for Legends. The Legends, now this year there was a Legends edition and then the normal edition of F1 2019. And the problem I had with that is that what you got for if you spend 10 quid more was horrific. Okay, you got to play the games 3 days earlier, which by that point, all pretty much for me, if I was doing a career mode episode, there's no point, because everybody's already seen it. Already seen the episodes, because all the big YouTubers like Arrow, Tom97, Tim Marduk, etc., all get the game about 3 weeks early. So they've already played the game and they're already on episode 10. So there really isn't no point. There's no point in buying the upper edition, and I strongly suggest you don't. Okay. It may be mean that those first 3 days you probably get away with anyway, because they released on a Tuesday. And to be honest, I don't play F1 on a Tuesday anyway, because I don't have time. Friday night, yeah, I have lot more time on Friday night. So I don't know if they'll do that again, if they'll introduce 2 different versions, but I'd strongly recommend you do not buy the upper version, because the Legends edition of the game was pointless. It gave you 2 new cars, which, unless you're a real classic into your classic cars, were not worth it. Well, that's the other thing. I don't think anybody's ever. Don't go buying any of the premium content, okay? Because it's not locked. That stuff is not locked. Any modder can go and download and install that mod. Chris Dix has got a helmet tutorial anyway. So if you follow my, if you've seen the how to install F120 my mods video, which I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll try and remember to do an eye thing in the top right in the corner for this. But basically, if you do, you can get, if in any in-car driver stuff, if you scroll down past all the driver helmets, they're all the Christmas helmet, the Halloween one, Ayrton Senna and Prost helmets, they're all there. The Abu Dhabi one as well, the esports helmet, they're all there. I mean, if you want to use them for career mode, then go ahead. So yeah, they're all there. Obviously, the ones that you can customise yourselves aren't there. Well, they are there, but they're in red, green, and blue RGB values. That's simply because that's how the game applies them. But you can go and change the values should you wish to customise your own helmet out and about, etc. But yes, moving back, what I'd like to see is scenario mode, and this has been pointed out more recently by again Tim Marduk, who did Champions mode on F1 2012. Something like, I would like to see Senna versus Prost redone again, but having little scenarios over the years. Get all the licenses for like Senna versus Prost over the years. It's like the 84, like Monaco 84, Senna versus Prost. You can choose to be Prost or so. That was a wet race, and Senna really made a name for himself in that race, which is why he got moved to Lotus. We could have Japan 89 and 90, for example, when they crashed. And I'm sure there's millions of other races that Prost and Senna have been involved in over the years. I think Donington 93 is another one. I'm not quite sure if that was too much Prost versus Senna, but I'm sure there's a whole load of races that they could invent scenarios, recreate those scenarios from history. A bit like with that Score. There's that Score app that recreates the part. You got to push it about and recreate the goals from history. That'd be quite cool. We could have something like that recreated, but with Formula One. I'll definitely be playing that. I only played the stuff for Legends, because you had to do that to unlock the cars for the video that I did. Other than that, I wouldn't have played it, because it's a waste of time. There's no excitement whatsoever from that series. And the final one, I've sort of the weekly events the weekly events that they have is sort of a scenario mode, but they've sort of, I don't think anybody bothers. I don't personally bother doing it. I know esports people like to do it, but I would like to see them sort of introduce some more one-off liveries. Maybe introduce some. I mean, if they get classic tracks back in the game, then that'd be quite cool to see. Bring those old, but to see some more one-off older liveries maybe be applied to F1, some new cars or some new designed car liveries just to enter those weeks. I mean, they got the esports helmet, so why can't we have it, and the esports car? But why can't they go more magically for the stuff like that? And also, I just those weekly events, you sort of have to like go through the practice, the qualifying. Scrap the practice and the qualifying. I don't care about that. I just want to be able to skip to the race, have a 5-lap race, and maybe a 25-lap race, or whatever, maybe 35% race, because that's something else that needs to be introduced. So yes, that'd be quite nice to see some sort of one-off liveries that get introduced to the game, and then maybe you get to on the multiplayer car, and you get to race them in a weekly event around a track, and then you can have a score for how many for getting the first, second, and a bit like they do with the esports thing. But yes, that's sort of going to be it for this series. If you've got anything else you want to mention, then in the comments below. If you missed any of the other episodes, then I recommend you go and check them out. As I said, Codemasters, well, I did email them. I did give them a link to this playlist. So hopefully they are watching these videos, because I do put some time into making the stuff for these videos. But hopefully you have enjoyed this series. We will return. I want to get this out earlier next year. So maybe like September, October time, maybe next year we'll start again looking at 2021. But that ultimately depends on what 2020 delivers. I should definitely start making notes on where to improve as soon as the game. That's one of the things. But I'll talk more about that in the channel update coming on New Year's Day. Tomorrow, by the way, is the Phoenix 84 rewind. So as I said, if you've got a favourite moment this year that you definitely want to see in the video, then let me know ASAP, and then I'll make sure it gets added in. But that's going to be it for this series, and I hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well, and I'll see you next time. Take care and goodbye.